So in this video, I want to make a point about the United States being a nation in decline. And I hope that you will listen to all my points. And if you disagree with me on any of them, please comment. And the reason is because, I say a lot of things, and sometimes I say things that to me are self-evidently true. And of course, I sometimes forget not everyone's going to agree with that or see the point that I'm making. And that's one of the reasons I love reading the comments. Anyway, I made a comment the other day that the United States was a nation in decline before Trump got reelected, and now we are a nation in collapse. And, I meant a lot of things by that, and of course, some people disagreed with me, didn't understand my full point, and maybe would disagree even if they did understand my full point. And so I got a lot of comments disagreeing with me on that. And I want to explain in full what I mean by that. Why we were a nation in decline even before Donald Trump got reelected. Now, when people disagreed with me, I think it was for two reasons. One, I think a lot of people just reflexively responded, we were not a nation in decline because Joe Biden was president. And because of that, we couldn't possibly be a nation in decline. And then the other reason is because, and this is what I got as a substantive response, is that the economy was good before Donald Trump came into office. We had the best economy in the world, which is of course true. And because of that, that's proof we were not a nation in decline. Now, having said all that, here's my point. The economy alone does not determine whether you are a nation in decline or not. That's not the only indication that you are a nation in decline. There are many other things pointing to what I believe to be the fact that the United States was a nation in decline even before Trump was reelected, and now it's a million times worse. So, yes, the economy was the best in the world. But how is our rule of law doing in this country? Not so good, was it? Think about all these fundamental things other than the state of the economy. The economy really, in my opinion, is a pretty piss-poor indication as to whether or not you have a healthy country. So how about the rule of law? I mean, that's a pretty foundational indication, right? Well, the rule of law isn't doing so well in this country. We had a sitting president, live on national TV, stage a coup, incited a violent insurrection in support of that coup so that he could stay in power illegally. He summoned a violent mob to attack another branch of government, beat police officers nearly to death. Also, this man could usurp the Constitution and stay in office illegally. And he got away with it. Nothing happened to him. So I'm sorry, that's a pretty good indication that we are not a healthy country. This is not a healthy constitutional republic. We're a nation in decline. And by the way, who was president while Donald Trump was getting away with that? Joe Biden, right? 4 years of Donald Trump getting away with his crimes. Joe Biden was president. His hand-picked attorney general. Biden, and you may not like to hear this, but Joe Biden and Merrick Garland together are two people who bear, a lot of the responsibility for Donald Trump being president right now, right? He should be in prison. He should have been in prison before the election. Merrick Garland did nothing for 2 years before he appointed a special counsel, and he only did so because the January 6th committee in Congress forced his hand. Joe Biden first of all, he picked this complete waste of space to be attorney general. If this were normal times, fine. Pick Merrick Garland, this wimpy little guy, make him attorney general. He picked him to be attorney general just a month after Donald Trump tried to overthrow the republic. That's when you picked Merrick Garland? No, you needed a bulldog prosecutor. He didn't pick one. He picked Merrick Garland, and he left him on the job for the full 4 years, long after it was obvious to the world that Merrick Garland wasn't doing shit to hold these people accountable, to hold Donald Trump accountable. Okay, so the rule of law isn't doing very well. How about our democracy? What would you say is the state of our democracy? Is it healthy? Is it only a sick democracy now that Donald Trump was reelected? Or were we worrying about the state of our democracy for the last 4 years? We've been talking about how much in trouble our democracy is for the last 4 years. This isn't new just because Donald Trump got reelected. It's proof. Donald Trump getting reelected is proof that our economy, that our democracy was in pretty pathetic shape. But it's been in pathetic shape. That's what led to him being reelected. We had a guy try to overthrow the country. Nothing happened to him. All right? We don't have a healthy democracy. What about the Constitution? It's ignored. Again, go back to the insurrection and so many other things. We have a Supreme Court that routinely ignores the Constitution to impose its own will, to make law from the bench. This is nothing new. It didn't just start happening in the last month and a half. This has been going on for quite some time. We have serious fundamental problems in our republic. All of these things combine to make this a nation in decline. It's not just the economy. A country is far more than just its economy. How about this? How about income inequality? We have the richest 1% owning what percent of everything in this country? And it's only getting worse by the day. You know, this country is getting increasingly difficult for normal people to live in anymore. So many young people in their 30s are living at home with their parents because they can't afford a house. They can't even afford an apartment. This didn't just start in the last 6 weeks. This has been going on for a long time. And none of this is to blame Joe Biden. All right, I'm not saying, oh, this was all started under Joe Biden. No, this has been going on for decades. We have been a nation in decline for a long time. But it's getting really, really bad now. What about our culture? You think we got a healthy culture? We have families being split apart because of our sick politics. Right? I don't need to, I'm already going longer in this video than I want to, but just think of all the problems in our culture. Okay, this is not a healthy culture. This is not a healthy society. Okay, it's not. The debt. Oh, okay. The debt is a big friggin' problem. We have $36 trillion in national debt right now. We add about $2 trillion or more dollars each year to the national debt. You don't think that's an indication of a problem? And that's, a creation of government spending. It's not completely disconnected from the economy. It's related to the economy in a way. But, we had a massive debt problem while Joe Biden was president, while the economy was doing well. This has been a decades-long process of smothering this country in debt, which has now become an existential threat to the future of this republic. This debt is going to overwhelm and destroy us if we don't get it under control. Okay, this didn't just start happening in the last 6 weeks. These are the reasons I've been saying when I made that comment that we were in a nation in decline before Donald Trump was reelected. Now we are a nation in collapse. This is what I'm talking about. We have a lot of fundamental, structural, big problems that have been taking place and getting worse over the last several decades. It's like a snowball, and we're at the point now that it's a huge ball, near the bottom of the hill. It's got maximum speed right now and it's huge as hell. But it has been growing in size and speed for decades. We have been a nation on the wrong trajectory for a long time. That's the point I was making. We were. I don't think it's arguable. Maybe you disagree with me, but I think we were a nation in decline, and we have been for a long time. Now we are a nation in full-on collapse. Are there any other points I wanted to make here? Finally, this. To make the point. Trump is not the reason for our problems. I mean, he's causing huge problems, don't get me wrong. But Trump ultimately is the symptom. Trump would not have happened. It would not have been possible to elect this corrupt criminal if this were not a very, very sick country. Okay? Trump is the symptom, and he's the proof of my point. If my point is that we were a nation in decline, Donald Trump is the proof. Because if you are a healthy country, you don't produce someone like Donald Trump. And if in some fluke, some crazy fluke, because of our electoral college system and maybe what's going on in the country, he manages to slip in and get elected, that's bad enough. But we reelected him. We reelected him after he staged a violent insurrection, after all of his crimes and his indictments and the rape adjudication and fraud adjudications and all of this. We reelected him. Do not tell me that this was not a nation in serious decline. It was. And now it's a million times worse. Now we are in full-on collapse. Donald Trump is the proof that we were a nation in decline. We have serious problems. And think about it this way. If Donald Trump, if we are saved from any more of the Trump presidency by like a hamburger gets him or something and he's out of our lives, are our problems going to go away? No, because Donald Trump is not the only problem we had. Donald Trump is a product of the problems that we have. And none of those are going away just because Donald Trump might leave the scene. No, this is a very, very sick society. Big time sick. We have been a nation in decline for a long time, and now we're collapsing. That was my point. If you disagree with any of that, please feel free to comment. And I thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.